Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to our representative from Colette Travel, Matthew Guillermo, and he's going to talk about some upcoming trips that we have. If you have questions, let's wait until the end of the presentation about that specific tour, and then we can ask questions. If you're anything like me and are afraid you might forget, go ahead and drop it into chat. I'll be watching over chat. Okay, Matthew, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Jacina, and thank you to both the West Virginia University Retirees Association as well as West Virginia University Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. I know a few of these tours we are partnering together on to make a little bigger success coming from the region, both here in Wheeling as well as down in Charleston. So all are welcome, friends, family, people from West Virginia, your friends and relatives out in California and Texas and Florida. Please feel free that anyone can reach out over to Jacina at the OLLI office, and she can get everyone all booked up on these amazing itineraries. As Jacina mentioned, my name is Matthew Duramo, and I have been proudly representing Colette for the past 18 and a half years now. It's been quite the journey. I just returned home from Australia and New Zealand for a sales meeting, and what a wonderful adventure that has been as well. But that's what we do. We send people around the world on guided adventures. For those of you who are unfamiliar with who Colette is, we're the oldest and largest tour operator in North America. We've been in business since 1918. So we're a 108-year-old, family-owned, American-owned company, and our headquarters is based in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. We have corporate headquarters in London, England. We have corporate headquarters in Vancouver, Canada, Toronto, Canada. But our headquarters in Sydney, Australia, for that matter. But our corporate headquarters is based in Rhode Island. I cover all of Western Pennsylvania and really the northern part and panhandle of West Virginia. But as I mentioned, Colette is a global tour operator. We offer over 180 unique itineraries with different travel styles to over 60 different countries and all 7 continents. Jacina, I don't think we've promoted a Antarctica yet, but maybe one of these days we will get Antarctica promoted. But that's what we do. We offer travel and we try to be the best value in the travel industry. So what does that mean? Well, our product philosophy as a company is we don't buy our tours off other companies. We basically have teams of people living in destination. They're sleeping at the hotels, they're eating at the restaurants, they're working with our transportation companies, and they're trying to find these unique activities to deliver to our travelers. So we control our product where some other companies buy their product off other people and then they redistribute and repackage it as if it's their own brand. When you're traveling with Colette, you are traveling with Colette. So what type of quality are we? Well, we're a premium tour operator. We're a 4.5 star tour operator. We're not the Ritz, we're not the Four Seasons, we're not a luxury, but we are a solid, premium product with a lot of inclusions. What you'll notice on all of the tours that we're promoting is that we don't like to nickel and dime people every step of the way. When you book one of our tours, there are always very few options. We have wonderful pacing, which means you're not packing and unpacking every single day of the week. Some of our tours are single hotel stays. Some may only, transfer from hotel to hotel once or twice throughout the journey. So, some tours are a little busier in the sense that we have to get from point A to point B if we're covering an enormous country. But what you'll notice with Colette is we have a lot of amazing, immersive cultural experiences that you're going to have one-on-ones with locals. We will have meaningful interactions. We're going to give you a balance of free time. And it's about the pacing of the tours where we try to slow things down for our groups. You're going to have a professional tour manager with you every step of the way. He or she will be there to entertain you, to educate you, make sure your hotel's are ready, your buses are on time, your meals are ready. They are your travel confidant throughout the entire program. They will also have local guides who are in destination specialists for the cities that you're traveling to. By law, a lot of the cities that we travel to, they will have their own step-on guides to give you a little bit more of an in-depth explanation and the discovery of a city. We're going to pick you up in Morgantown. We're going to pick you up in Charleston. We're going to take you to the airport. We're going to pick you up and bring you back. Typically, the Morgantown pickup will travel out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. All of these tours include airfare from either Pittsburgh or Charleston and the hometown pickup. So when you're looking at the pricing, these are air inclusive tours. If you're coming from a different gateway, keep in mind the pricing may be different from, Florida or Texas or Tennessee, wherever you may have family, but all are welcome. Now, a few years ago, I found this couple online and I just got the biggest kick out of them. And I thought it really resonated with what we do for a living here at Collette. And I'm going to play this video and introduce you to my friends. I always got a kick out of that because my father once told me that their last check was going to bounce. So when I found this couple, I was like, oh my goodness, it really reminds me of my parents over here. So this is our tour lineup for 2026 and into 2027. We're going to be offering a tour later this year, which has an amazing air offer. You don't have to get yourself to New York City. We will fly you there, and it really came with free airfare. So this is a really good rate for a tour for the last minute to go to New York during holiday season, which is spectacular. We have a tour that is continuing with that winter wonderland, which is no place like it, which is Finland. We're going all the way up into the Lapland of Finland. We're riding, dog sleds. We're mushing our own dog sleds, sleeping in glass igloos. We have a tour to southern Italy and Sicily in March of 2027, which is going to cover the southern part of Italy. We have a tour going to London and Paris. We built a pre-night onto that itinerary so that people can go in and have some free time to go out and explore. And I heard there's some interest in Stonehenge for that trip, for that pre-night. We're going up to the Canadian Rockies and touring Glacier National Park. It's a wonderful time of year to go in July, peak season, all the crisp mountain alpine lakes and vistas, and getting a chance to explore the National Park of Banff. We're doing a safari. Some of our fastest selling programs are our safaris, and this is my favorite, which is exploring South Africa, Victoria Falls, and Botswana at the end of 2027. Perfect time of year to go. And then we have a Spain tour coming down the road. It's not quite released, called Spain's Classics, which is going to be a small group journey. The three that we're really going to be highlighting today are the Spotlight on New York City holiday, the Northern Lights of Finland, and discover southern Italy and Sicily. However, I did put links for all of the tours in the chat box, and you can also find those links on OLLI's webpage under their travel program. So Spotlight on New York City, it's departing December 1st through December 5th. And it's a 5-day, 4-night stay, all right in the heart of New York City. You're staying right in the heart of Times Square where all the hustle and bustle is. But that is why you are going to New York. It's a 5-day adventure that puts you right in the heart of one of the world's most eclectic and electric cities at its most magical time of year. You're going to unpack once and experience the best of Manhattan, dressed to the nine in holiday lights, iconic decorations, and timeless cheer. There's not much to the itinerary at a glance. This is considered a spotlight tour. Spotlight tours are single hotel stays with maximum of 44 travelers. It's a level 3 because we are traversing New York on foot and by motor coach, but there is quite a bit of walking on foot because that is the best way to get around New York because of the massive traffic there in New York. So you want to be able to get on the bus and off the bus, be able to keep up with maybe a 2-hour tour. Now, when we say a 2-hour tour, we're not saying that you're walking for 2 straight hours at a time. We're saying a leisurely paced walking tour that you're going to stop and listen to the tour manager, take some photos, and continue on. And you may have to traverse some cobblestone, streets and maybe some uneven terrain. But basically, it's a nice pace guided walking tour. As I mentioned, you're going to have the tour manager with you every step of the way to entertain you, to educate you, make sure your hotel's ready, your buses are on time, your meals are ready. They are your travel confidant throughout the entire program, and they're the ones to make the destination come to life. My wife and I, we go to New York every other year for the holiday, to really just get in that festive spirit. My kids love traveling around, doing the little bus rides around the city, as well as heading to Rockefeller Square. And we just find it very energetic. So from the moment that you arrive in New York, you're going to feel the city buzzing with festive energy, twinkling lights, decorated state storefronts, and the unmistakable New York City pace. There's no scheduled activities on day one, so you're really free to just settle in to your, centrally located hotel right at the Sheraton's Times Square. I've spent a dozen times right here at this hotel. It's right in the heart of the city. Go out, go explore. You have nothing planned that night. There's lots of restaurants and cafes, and you're not too far from Broadway, where all the theaters are at here in New York. The next day, we're going to take you on a panoramic city tour with a local guide, and our day's going to start out with a local breakfast. Now, we're not eating at the hotel for breakfast. We're taking you out to a local diner where you'll get a taste of everyday New York culture, and the atmosphere is authentic and really distinctly New York. So eating at the hotel for breakfast, yeah, we could do that, but why not go to a New York City diner and really break bread for the first time with our group there? And then it's time to join that local guide who really lives and breathes the city on a panoramic tour. And it begins in New York's most iconic space, which is Central Park. Designed in the 19th century to offer an escape from the hustle of the city, today it's a peaceful winter wonderland filled with frozen ponds, horse-drawn carriages, snow-dusted trails. It's really the perfect breath of fresh air and a rare moment of calm in the city that never sleeps. It's the largest central park in North America. From there, we're then going to drive by Fifth Avenue, the city's legendary shopping boulevard. But during the holidays, it transforms into something even more spectacular, a corridor of dazzling light displays and elaborate storefronts. Be sure to look for the Saks Fifth Avenue animated windows and twinkling snowflakes suspended above the streets. It's really a cool place to go in the evening. You just got to muscle your way in there in the evening hours to see Saks all lit up. We'll continue on to Rockefeller Center, which is, been the heartbeat in New York City's holiday spirit. Here you'll see the famous Rockefeller Christmas tree, a massive spruce-wrapped tree and over 50,000 lights. You might even spot skaters twirling below the rink. If this is your first time in New York City during the holiday season, this will be a moment that you will never forget. Right across the street is St. Patrick's Cathedral, which will also have a guided tour of St. Patrick's Cathedral. Have you ever wondered how the Rockefeller Christmas tree came to be? Well, in 1931, during the Great Depression, construction workers at Rockefeller Plaza pulled their money to buy a decorate 20-foot Christmas tree, handmade decorations, and just 2 years later, the first official lighting ceremony was held with 700 sparkling lights at the time. Now there's 50,000. So it really began back in 1931 and it's been continuing on to this day. Continuing on day number 2 with our city tour of New York, we're going to be making our way down to Greenwich Village in Chinatown, 2 of the most eclectic city suburbs of New York in the lower part of Manhattan, to get a chance to explore those wonderful little parts of the city. The remainder of your day is completely at leisure in the latter part of the afternoon, early part of the afternoon, where you can maybe go take a skate in Central Park, take in museums, browse all the stores. It's really a wonderful way to kick off your date. From there, we're then going to have dinner with the group as a guided, an included dinner. And then later on that night, you're going to make your way to Radio City Music Hall and see the Christmas Spectacular with the Rockettes. So there's a lot going on this tour, and it is going to be a wow from start to finish. So day number one, you arrive, free time. Day number two, you're seeing all of the highlights of New York City, but it's giving you your opportunity to get your bearings as well for when you have that free time. The next day, we're going to take a ferry to the Statue of Liberty. After breakfast, we're going to have, once again, at a New York City diner. We're going to head downtown. We're going to board the ferry. We're going to cross the harbor, and you're going to learn all about the Statue of Liberty and the history of the statue. It weighs 225 tons. It's made of copper sheets over an iron framework, and it stands 151 feet tall. And I think this is a wonderful visit because you're also going to get an opportunity to tour Ellis Island with over 12 million immigrants, that passed through here between 1892 and 1924. So you're going to have an opportunity to tour this. It's it's kind of an own pace walking tour where you'll have a little headset. Later on that night, there's an optional tour with dinner if you want to make your way back down to Greenwich Village with a little bit more of an in-depth tour, heading to the Greenwich Market, and then having a wonderful dinner in Greenwich Village. Day number 4, this morning begins with a drive through Wall Street, giving you a glimpse into one of the most recognizable financial centers in the world. And then we're going to take a moment to reflect as we visit the 9/11 Memorial and Museum for a self-guided tour. You're going to see the Memorial Pond where the Twin Towers once stood, each nearly an acre in size, and it featuring the largest man-made waterfall in North America. The memorial promotes a powerful message of peace and unity for the future, and you're going to have an opportunity to also tour inside the museum to learn all about the resilience of the New York City residents over here. Later that day, we're going to have a wonderful Broadway show. We're going to wrap it all up with dinner and a Broadway show. There's a couple different performances to choose from, which will come at a later time once we secure our tickets, and we're going to take you all down through the Broadway area. Then we have our farewell day number 5, where we're going to take you back to the airport and you fly back to your home city. So this is a wonderful tour. We would love for you to join us. Now, in the chat box, I put links to all of the different tours that we're offering. This particular program is coming in at land, air, taxes, fees, with your transfers from Morgantown to the airport. It's coming in at $29.99 out the door. This free airfare. Normally, this tour is coming in around like $3,700 for included of air, but there is a booking incentive. So if you book before June 1st, you're going to save $400 per person, bringing it to $29.99. And you can find all of this information on the group webpage. You can sign yourself up in the top right-hand corner. You click the link, and then it'll take you to a registration form. Remember, if you're booking any of these tours, you need to book with your legal passport name exactly as appears on your passport, or you can reach out to Jacina and she can help you with your booking. But all of these tours are right on the OLLI's website. The next tour we're going to speak about today is our Northern Lights of Finland, February 21st through the 28th. Why are we going to Finland in the dead of winter? The reason why is, January through March is when the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights, are most prevalent. So that's why we're going there. Nowhere, almost anywhere else in the world are they more prevalent than in Finland. And my wife and I had an opportunity to do this trip back in March of 19, and we absolutely fell in love with this destination. It really packs a punch, and we're going to dive into it. So we're going to learn a little bit about the country, which is called the Daughter of the Baltic. Finland is a northern European nation bordering Sweden, Norway, and Russia. Its capital, Helsinki, occupies a peninsula surrounding islands in the Baltic Sea. Helsinki is home to the 18th century sea fortress and its fashionable design district, diverse museums. It's really the gateway to the Northern Lights. So how does this tour operate? This tour starts with 2 nights in Helsinki. From there, we fly to the area called Ivalo. And this is in the Lapland. This is in the Arctic Circle. And this is where you're going to be staying in a world-class resort for the next 3 nights, which are world famous because they have these glass igloos that you can sleep under. And when the northern lights are shimmering above, you're sleeping under the glass igloo. Now, we do 2 nights in a log cabin and we transition to the igloo for the third night. But there is an upgrade that you can have a cabin in an igloo. We'll dive a little deeper into that here in just a few slides. But then we fly back down to Helsinki to really end our tour. So 2 nights Helsinki, 3 nights in Kaksalainen, 1 night back in Helsinki. Now this tour is a little bit more unique. I don't think we've promoted too many of these with OLLI over the years, but this is under our Exploration brand. Our Exploration brand is small group travel, no more than 24 travelers. So it's more boutique in nature. There's a little bit more cultural immersion. And frankly, we could stay at some properties that we can't stay at with 44 people. So this tour maxes out at 24 travelers. It is also a level 3, same activity level as New York City. On that instance, it is maybe a little bit more active than New York City because where we are going is going to be packed with snow. So you're going to need to bundle up, boots, thermal wear. You're going to need a nice warm jacket, earmuffs. You're going to need all of that when you are traveling around Finland in the wintertime. So we fly into the capital city of Helsinki. We don't really have much going on that day other than getting together and good for a wonderful welcome dinner to get with the group and learn where everyone is from the very first night. The next day, very similar to New York. You wake up and you have a guided tour of the capital city of Finland, Helsinki, and you're going to learn all about the different styles of architecture, the governmental style, the currency, the cultural dishes, all the different neighborhoods. This is a library here. It's unbelievable. We're going to learn about the parliament and their parliament system. We're going to take you out to some of the local parks to learn about some of the monuments. This is a composer, Silvius, here in the heart of Helsinki's central park. So we're going to have a comprehensive tour of Helsinki. From there, we're going to give you an opportunity to have some free time in Helsinki. And I tell everyone, come down to this little market. It's like a mini Reading terminal or kind of strip district in PA with all the little artifacts and snacks from the surrounding areas. The remainder of the days at leisure, go out, have a wonderful dinner in Helsinki. The next morning, we're waking up and we are making our way up into the Arctic. And this is the reception for the Kaksalainen Hotel. The Kaksalainen Hotel, as I mentioned, is a remote lodge that is in the heart of Lapland, up in the Arctic Circle. This is a little lounge in the Kaksalainen, but it gives you the understanding of what your glass igloo would look like when there is beds. The lodge is absolutely amazing. This is where you'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the lodge. This is how you get your luggage to your hotel room. Not really. This is how the locals get their bags to the room, but this is how the portage works. You do not have to port your own luggage. But you can get an understanding of the lodge. I took this photo from a group of travelers. You walk back and forth from the lodge to your cabins, and it's not unusual to have several feet of snow, but they do a good job of clearing it so that you have pathways to your lodges. When you get to your lodge, everything is made of finished wood and finished material. And when you get inside the lodge, it is just really calm, peaceful. They all have saunas because that is a Finnish tradition. If you want to get a campfire going or not a campfire, but a log fire going in your fireplace, you can call and they can come down for a couple dollars and start one for you. But you do 2 nights in the log cabin before you transfer to the glass igloo on the third night. So you get settled into your log cabin that night or your kilo igloo, which we'll talk about a little later. We're going to go on a little sleigh ride, around the resort, and then we're going to go out searching for the northern lights. It is just absolutely amazing to see these lights shimmering up in the air. Day number 5 of the trip, we're going to wake up and we are going to mush our way to breakfast along a Finnish sleigh. These Finnish sleighs are usually held by reindeer. So we're going to be making our way up. And since we're in the Arctic and we're in the North Pole, what better way to go see Santa Claus? So this is Santa's house. You get an opportunity to see Santa's reindeer right after the hard work that they did in the latter part of the year. So that evening, we're going to go out. And by the way, any activities that we have outside, the resort will provide you with our, cold gear to go out if we're going to be outside. And we're going to go on a magical sleigh ride underneath the northern lights. That sleigh ride was the first time that I laid eyes on northern lights. It was absolutely amazing. So day number 6, we pack our bags and you transfer to these glass igloos for a one-night stay. These glass igloos are private. No one can see into your igloo. You have a bathroom, but there's no shower. You can either shower at the Common Lodge or you can wait till you get back to Helsinki the following day. But this really is a treat to sleep underneath the northern lights. This gives you an example of how they're kind of shielded from passerbys. However, if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade in secure a Kilo igloo. The Kilo igloo upgrade, I think it's $1,000 if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that ballpark, where you get a big log cabin and an igloo for all 3 nights total. Remember, the base tour is 2 log cabins, 1 igloo, where you can upgrade to all 3 nights in a log cabin igloo. And this is the one that my wife and I stayed in, and it is a big cabin. You have a king-size bed, you have a little sofa, you have a little kitchenette, you also have a sauna, and you can either choose to sleep inside or under the glass igloo there. There's 2 separate beds that you kind of lift up so you can get better angles of it. But you'll be doing 1 night in the glass igloo, or you can upgrade to the Kilo igloo for all 3 nights. The next day, arguably the best way to experience Finland is going out and mushing your own dog sled. I pinch myself, a guy from Western Pennsylvania, having an opportunity to mush my own dog sled in the heart of the Lapland region. So this was just a total treat. My wife couldn't do it because she was very pregnant at the time. And, so there was a little bit more activity level than we assumed. But, here's a little video of that.
The husky safari experience was magical. You have these animals that are energized to bring you through the Lapland, through this incredible scenery, completely pristine. Nothing has been touched. The huskies are adorable, and each dog has a name. The people who run and guide the husky safaris know each and every dog. We stopped halfway at this teepee, and we had some coffee and traditional Finnish cakes. It was just magical.
That was one of the most memorable experiences for me. Also interacting with the local, the Sampo people, the natives or the Aborigines of Lapland and how they survive. So you're going to be having some of those discussions with the locals. There's this great lookout tower on the resort where you could see in Lapland for miles and miles and miles. It's just a wonderful trip. I would love for you to join us on this trip. Remember, it is a small group exploration. From Lapland, we're going to make our way back down to Helsinki. And for one last day, we're going to fly back down there. Remember, it's about an hour and 45-minute flight where we will have our farewell dinner. But here's one last video before we head into southern Italy and Sicily.
I'm a bit of a thrill seeker, an adventurer. For me, getting to know a new culture is all about diving in. You need to immerse yourself. You can't hold back. The Finnish people really had this way of easing you into their way of life. When you asked a question, their face lit up and they wanted to tell you something. There was so many opportunities for me to kind of get out and just do things on my own. I found that it was very easy to strike up a conversation with the locals there. I really had an insider's view at what their culture represented. This trip was full of so many adventures, but oftentimes travelers head to Finland for just one reason: to experience the Northern Lights. Out of nowhere, this illustrious fireworks started in the sky. I felt connected with nature at that moment. I had an adventure in Finland that I never fully imagined that I would have. Even the childish nature that it brought out from within me, it exceeded what my level of expectation was. As a traveler, someone who loves adventure, it was the tour for me.
So the price of this trip is coming in at land, air, taxes, and fees at $59.99 per person based on a double. There is a $700 savings if you book before July 22nd, but $5,999 land, air, taxes, fees, transfers from Morgantown. Check your rates out of Charleston. And, you can always ask Justina for rates from any city around the country. And that link is on the OLLI website as well as in the chat box. And our last trip that we're going to be really featuring today is our Southern Italy and Sicily tour, March 11th through 24th, back in plenty of time for Easter. And if you're going to Southern Italy and Sicily, you want to go when it's a little cooler. If you go too late in the spring or summer, you will melt. It's a very hot down, that far into the Mediterranean. This is a perfect time of year to go. When I went there, March of 2024, we were looking at temperatures in the mid 60s, low 70s, almost daily. It was wonderful, low crowds. A lot of the big complaints about going to Europe anymore, the amount of crowds. So this will give you an opportunity to travel off season, good temperatures, and less crowds. But you're going to encounter a crossroad of civilization here when you return, or get your way back from Sicily all the way down into the southern part of Italy. It's absolutely amazing. There's a lot going on here. So even though this is a group with OLLI and the retirees, keep in mind, you can go in early, pre-nights. You can stay later, post-nights. Some tours have pre-tour extensions. Some tours have post-tour extensions. Regardless of what you decide to book, we are still going to handle the hometown pickup to pick you up at the location for OLLI in Morgantown as well as Charleston, and take you to the airport and pick you up and bring you home. So if you do anything, as long as you book our airfare, we are going to take care of that transportation to get you back and forth to the airport. So this tour has a pre-tour to Palermo and visiting the seaside town of Cefalù. And you also have a post-tour to Rome if you want to spend some extra days in Rome. But we're going to start out with a 2-night stay in the capital city of Palermo. You're going to fly overnight from Pittsburgh to somewhere to Rome and then to Palermo. There's no nonstops to Palermo from the United States. We're going to do 2 nights in Palermo. We're going to do 2 nights in the town of Agrigento with these beautiful ancient Greek ruins. 3 nights in the garden city of Giardini Naxos, which is right at the base of this amazing town, Taormina. We're going to cross over by ferry to the Strait of Messina, and then we're going to travel through the Calabria countryside. The tip of the boot is Calabria, which a lot of people from Western PA, Northern West Virginia, are Calabrese. That is where they're from. We're making our way through the Basilicata region of Italy and spending 2 nights in Matera, known for their ancient cliff dwellings, which are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We're going to visit Sorrento for a 2-night stay and end in Rome. There are a lot of wows. Now, this is a classic tour up to 44 travelers. The activity level is very similar to New York and Iceland, where it's a level 2. You got to be on your feet, at times, but you also have free time to go out and explore independently. We're always trying to mix that activity with free time. Your tour opens here in the capital city of Palermo. where you'll discover its city's vibrant culture as you take in the gritty, unshakable spirit and the captivating energy of this 2,700-year-old city. Its name is Palermo, derived from the word meaning all port. That evening, we get together, wonderful welcome dinner at a local restaurant. The next day, we wake up and we head to the town of Montreal. Montreal is really well known to locals and to those that are really into architecture, because we're going to go visit the Montreal Cathedral, which is considered one of the most beautiful Norman churches in all of Sicily. Now, keep in mind, this region of the world has been ruled by so many different, cultures. The Normans of France, we have the Italians or the Romans, we have the Spaniards who ruled this, we have the Greeks who ruled it, we also have the Moors who ruled it. So there's so much cultural influence, and cuisine influence, and architectural influence, for that matter, here in Sicily. It's unlike any place that I've ever traveled. I absolutely love it. So we're going to take a nice tour of Montreal, and then, I'm not kidding, folks, this is the best meal in my 18 and a half years I've ever had at Collette, is we go out to this local farm called an agritismo, where everything you eat is produced on the farm, from the olive oil that you're eating, to the wine that you're drinking, to the cheese that you're eating, and the meat. Everything is raised here, and we bring you in, and you're welcomed with an aperitivo, and then you start having the appetite. It is just unbelievable. I'm not kidding. This will be, when you think the food is done, it comes again, and then it keeps coming. And it is just a lot of fun, because you get a chance to tour the farm and then have a wonderful meal with the family. We're going to return to Palermo that evening for an evening at leisure. The next day, we're going to wake up and we're going to actually tour Old Town Palermo, from Palermo's old city to cobblestone piazzas to ornate buildings. It does look a little worn. It's not Florence. It's not, the capital of the Renaissance. It is a little bit more gritty, but that's the charm. And the nightlife, oh my goodness, it's one of the best nightlifes to go out and have a meal sitting outside anywhere in the world, in my opinion. The next day, we're going to continue on, or that same day, we're going to continue on from our city tour of Palermo, and we're making our way through the rolling hills of Sicily, all the way down to the coastline for a 2-night stay in Agrigento. This is what Agrigento is known for, is the Valley of the Temples. Some of the most Greek ruins outside of Greece, where you have an opportunity to really learn about this valley of all these ancient temples, such as Juno and Concordia and Jupiter and Hercules. And, we're going to get a nice tour around these ancient ruins. And then our hotel, even though it's on a hill, you can get down through walking the resort without leaving the resort, all the way down to the coastline and dip your toes in the Mediterranean. But remember, what goes down must go up. So just keep that in mind. But the hotel is absolutely gorgeous. Later this day, we're going to be visiting, or not later this day, on day number 6, we're going to be visiting a local, villa outside of Agrigento. And the reason we're visiting these local villa is you're going to learn about the history of the palazzos and the royalty of Italy and Sicily. And then you're going to take a guided tour, and there's ancient mosaics here that we're going to get a chance to explore. And then you're going to have a 3-night stay right on the coastline here in the town of Giardini Noxus. Giardini Noxus is a beautiful little town, tons of little restaurants. We're going to visit Taormina, home to ancient relics, rocky hills, charming gardens. We're going to have a local guide to take us around the town. The town is really well known for this ancient 3rd century BC amphitheater, which overlooks the active volcano of Mount Etna. And the theater is still used to this day for performers. Later on this afternoon, you're going to have an opportunity to explore Taormina at leisure, to have some relaxing time. You will welcome it, as it is a wonderful city to explore independently. Day number 8, it's yours. You can do whatever you want on day number 8. Perhaps you'll opt out to, go explore Taormina once again, enjoy the relaxing hotel in Jardine Noxus. We do have an optional tour that we go off-roading up to Mount Etna, which is Europe's largest active volcano, which is a lot of fun. I've done that exploration. Day number 9, we're getting in our vehicles. We're hopping on a ferry ride. We're crossing over to the mainland across the Strait of Messina. We're going to take a little ride through the countryside into Calabria, and then we're going to stop in the Basilicata region for a wonderful winery visit at another local agriturismo and taste the beautiful wines of southern Italy. The next day, we're going to be making our way touring the ancient settlements of these carved dwellings that have been continuously inhabited since 7000 BC. That is when archaeologists predict that people began living here in these ancient caves called Cessi di Matera. Now, some of them are even getting turned into Airbnbs, but this is just a wonderful visit, getting a chance to visit Matera and the history of this. The site has been the filming location for many Christian films that resemble ancient Jerusalem. So just something that, little tidbits. You have an option to visit Alberobello, which are famous for these little truly homes during your free time. We're going to visit a local mozzarella farm to see how the milk is milked from the buffaloes, and then see how the cheese is formed and stretched. And I mean, if you're seeing how it's made, you have to taste the fruits of the labor over here. So you're going to have some wonderful tastings at the buffalo mozzarella. After lunch, we're then going to be making our way to Sorrento in the Sorrentine Peninsula, and we're going to settle in for a 2-night stay at a beautiful hotel right in the heart of the city. Because of the time of year, we tour differently different times of the year. Sometimes we do ferry rides to see different vantage points of the city. This time of year, we basically do it by motor coach because the ferry rides are seasonal. So we're going to get a chance to discover Sorrento during a walking tour of the charming old town. It really gives you your bearings. And we're also going to take a little ride to Positano with this pastel color houses, pebble beaches. This will be a highlight for a lot of our travelers. Day number 13, we're going to be making our way to Rome. En route to Rome, we're going to stop in the ancient ruins of Pompeii. Pompeii, which was completely buried by mud and ash from Mount Vesuvius eruption in 79 AD. Ironically, the same year the Colosseum was built. You're going to have an opportunity to tour tour Pompeii, and we're going to be making our way back to Rome. We don't do anything in Rome on this tour other than a farewell dinner. And that is because this is a tour of southern Italy and Sicily, not a tour of Rome. But if you want to go in early to Palermo, you can certainly do so. If you want to stay later in Rome, we can make those arrangements. We will still pick you up and take you to the airport and pick you up and bring you home. This tour is coming in at $53.99 per person, land and air, from Pittsburgh, PA, and that includes your hometown pickup. So right now, this tour, I believe, is on a first come, first served basis, but it is an amazing price point. It's going up about $1,000 for the following spring. So please get your deposits in ASAP. There is no booking incentive because of the popularity of the tour. With any of these trips, before your tour, you're going to get travel documents. Those travel documents will have your luggage tag, your lanyards. It'll go over what to wear, what to bring, how to pack, currency, cell phone, all that fun stuff. We have a great app that you can use to follow along your trip and your flight schedules and your transfers. Remember, a big part of these are the hometown pickup. We're picking you up in Willing and in Charleston, taking you to the airports. You can personalize your tour, business class air, premium economy. You can go in early, stay later, optional experiences. The one option that we'll talk about is the travel protection. Our travel protection is typically around $599 for most of these tours. It's optional and it's due at the time of deposit, but typically it's about $5.99. It's canceled for any reason up until midnight the night before your trip, and you get all of your money back, less the cost of the insurance. For any reason, you don't have to file any paperwork. It's as easy as a phone call up until midnight to Jacina. Better yet, Jacina, a phone call to Collette and saying, I can't travel, and you get every penny back. And then while you're on tour, it covers you for trip interruption, travel delays, illness, accident, theft, emergency evacuation. So it protects you before the trip and it protects you while you're on the trip. We just had a great group come back. I was looking at the surveys. They came back very positive of a big trip to Ireland. It was a 10-day journey. And a lot of those people will have travel credits, or not a lot, all of them. But if you've traveled with Collette and you do a second tour with Collette within 2 years, you have loyalty coming your way of 5% discount off of your next tour if your next tour departs within 24 months from your previous tour. And then you have an additional 3% if your last tour was within 25 to 36 months. And if you are an explorer level with Collette, you get an extra $100, which means you completed 3 or more tours in the last 24 months, and your last one was within 24 months. And that extra 100 could go towards a pre-night, a post-night, etc. So with these tours that we spoke about, you're going to need a passport. Your passport's valid up until 8 months beyond your return home date. That's standard. For the New York City, a real ID driver's license will be perfectly fine. Now, if you're heading to Italy or Finland or, Canada or, all of these others, you need to be prepared if there's any regulations. Like, so for instance, if you're going to Europe later on this fall, which this Italy would be the early part of next year, along with Finland, you're going to need to secure the ETIAS, which is a travel authorization. This travel authorization will give you permission to travel into these areas of Europe, which are called the Schengen areas. It's going to cost about $20. It'll last a couple years, but this will be a requirement. If you're going to London next year and Paris, you will need both an ETA and an ETIAS. The ETA is the United Kingdom's travel authorization. I think it costs $17 and it lasts for 2 years. These are just new travel, I think they're money makers, but nevertheless, if you're coming from Pennsylvania, you need to make sure you got your real ID, which is fairly new. But anytime you're booking any of these trips, remember, you can go in early, stay later. You can purchase business class air. You can do premium economy air, pre-nights, post-nights, optional tours. People always ask me, they know, that I travel a lot. You can just follow along. Jacina's always like, where are you at again, Matt? But it's my job to know these things. Our motto is we know because we go, but people always ask, when's the best time to go here? And when's the best time to go there? And I tell everyone, it's while you can, tomorrow's never promised. So if there's something you want to do, hop over to OLLI's, website. You can go under travel and you can see all of these tours with the links that I posted to you in the chat box, which if you came in later, I will post all of these once again into the chat box so that you have them. Let's see here. Everyone in the meeting. And you can go to those links. You can find them on OLLI's webpage, and they will take you to the tours. New York Spotlight Holiday, Finland, Southern Italy. In about another month or so, we're going to present on London and Paris and the Canadian Rockies and our African safari. And once we have Spain, we'll get those details to everyone as well. So thank you, Jacina, under the travel brand. So those links will look something like this, and they will take you to pages that will look like this, that have all the information. The Northern Lights of Finland, $59.99 with a $700 incentive. There's no incentive for Southern Italy, but that rate is really, really good for the for everything that's included on that 13-day trip. London and Paris is coming in at $6,099 for April for that tour. We have Canadian Rockies Glacier National Park, $49.99 for a double. And then our African Safari, which is one of our most popular tours in the company, is coming in at $11,500, which I'm excited to present to you guys at another time. So with that being said, Jacina, please feel free, open up the mics, but I appreciate everyone's time today. And thank you for your understanding. I'm supposed to be in person today, but I had some family things come up. So this is recorded, I believe. I'm not sure if it's recorded. It is recorded,
Yes,
so please share it with your friends and family. And I appreciate your time today. Any questions pop up?